News dump, news dump, news dump time. Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't done a news roundup in a little while, so it is time to go through all kinds of news, and to the point of where I know these news roundups are always long. I mean, who am I kidding? All my videos are very long, but this one in particular, we've got so many stories to go through. As usual, the video is timestamped if you want to see the amount that we've got here, but I recommend watching each and every part of this video to stay up to date with Boba's takes. I hope you're doing well today, ladies and gentlemen, but we need to start off with Superman. Now, one thing that has been on everyone's minds, I think, since really December, is, okay, when is the official trailer coming out? We waited a while, understandably, since December. Then we got the sneak peek, which was, pretty awesome. It's like 5 minutes worth of footage. And after CinemaCon, we thought, okay, maybe April 18th, Superman Day. We did get a cool behind-the-scenes teaser there, but still no official trailer. The kind of trailer where you expect a bit of dialogue in it, because outside of Crypto, Take Me Home, or Luthor saying, he's back, we haven't had dialogue, a real sense of the story, the narrative, of which the official trailer would absolutely and undoubtedly provide. So now, in today's first story, we're going over a little bit of a rumor where we have Resident Justice here who, gets some scoops, take it with a grain of salt, but they said Superman trailer dropping the week of May 12th to May 16th, by the way. And then he quote tweeted his own tweet saying, yeah, I'm now confident in telling you guys that this is indeed the time window. You can lock it in. Confirmed as much as I'm going to be able to get it confirmed. It's going down next week. At this point, it's absolutely fine to expect. You can't blame us for expecting this official trailer for Gunn Superman to release this month. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel, guys, for my breakdown. I don't know if I'm going to do a reaction yet. I know you guys love the reactions on the channel, but sometimes I don't know if I'm going to do that or just dive straight into the breakdown kind of thing. We also have Resident Justice saying you'll get to see Engineer using her powers for the first time, as well as more Crypto in the official trailer. Been hearing you'll also get more Lex, new shots of the Justice Gang. Nothing earth-shattering that I'm saying, but hey, marketing blitz incoming. And that's true. Marketing is about to go crazy. I've said that for a while, but after the official trailer, it is going to go nuts. We also had Gunn reply to a comment a little while ago now to this user saying, trailer 2.5 soon? And Gunn said, you haven't even seen trailer 1.0 yet. Only a teaser and a sneak peek. I can't wait to show you guys the trailer. Now, a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean? We're at this date and you haven't even released trailer number 1? Well, technically, no, because the teaser trailer isn't technically trailer 1.0. That is the official trailer in every capacity for every movie out there. The sneak peek is a sneak peek. The behind the scenes is a behind the scenes, I really like that behind the scenes. So yeah, official trailer 1.0 will be coming, hopefully, next week. And then, considering it's called, as he describes it, 1.0, we should maybe, as a lot of movies do get out there, get the final trailer even closer to release date. And then the most recent Gunn tease, we had a user saying, when will the trailer come out? And Gunn just put a little smirking emoji face. So maybe this is lining up with the scooper stuff with regards to releasing next week. Let me know your top wants for what you would like to see in the trailer down in the comments below. What do you absolutely have to see for you to be a happy person going into the Superman movie? Or if you're a bit kind of shaken about it, what would convince you in the new trailer for you to kind of maybe switch up and be a bit more hyped about Gunn's Superman? Also, just in case you happen to be still watching at this point in the video, which I hope you are, you've still got a lot of video left to watch. I'd really appreciate it if you maybe click that thumbs up button. It goes a long way. I wouldn't ask otherwise. So thank you very much if you're supporting the channel. Now, moving swiftly on into Superman-related news, we have Sean Gunn talking a little bit about Maxwell Lord, confirming something which was never truly confirmed before. So from DC Film News here, re-reporting this, saying Sean Gunn finally confirms his role as Maxwell Lord in Superman at Northern FanCon. I asked James Gunn recently if I can even say that I'm in the movie, and he was like, you can say you're kinda in the movie. So I'm kinda in the new Superman. So the reason why I prefaced this saying like it was never truly confirmed is because when Sean Gunn was first cast, December 8th, 2023, Oh man, like I remember making a video about this. Like, does anyone else get like freaked out by stuff like this? Like, we're in 2025, so this wasn't December 2024. It was December 2023. Either way, we have deadlines saying exclusive, this, that, and the other. It's not clear whether if Sean Gunn's Maxwell Lord will make a cameo in Brother Gunn Superman, which will go into production next year. The character, as I hear it, will be referenced in the background of Legacy, but will appear in future DC projects. So essentially, now we know that Sean Gunn's Maxwell Lord is in the movie. It's not like a revelation, because I think a lot of us assumed he would be, given that you have his company, Lord Tech, as in Maxwell Lord, like the logo for that, printed on to Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl's, and Guy Gardner's bloody superhero suits. So I always thought that this was like a very beta kind of, or alpha Justice League International inspired thing. I'm not saying they are the Justice League International. Apparently they're called the Justice Gang, which is a very kind of goofy name, but something, as I agree with what many people were saying, something that Guy Gardner would probably come up with. But either way, he's in the movie. I don't know if this is Sean Gunn's Maxwell Lord being burst out the window in that behind-the-scenes trailer that we got recently. You may remember we were speculating about that. I was like, okay, who could this be? Could it be Simon Stagg? Would it really be Maxwell Lord, considering that he is kind of, I guess, corporately sponsoring these heroes? And we only label it like that because they're wearing his company's literal brand. But either way, I've always had in mind that ever since that Deadline article, Sean Gunn's Maxwell Lord could appear minimally in Superman, but has a larger purpose to recur in projects, you know, throughout the DCU. Maybe to lead to a Justice League International type thing. Obviously, that is complete speculation, but that was just based on the back of, you know, we're getting maybe Booster Gold and things like that. Mr. Terrific's in this. You know, who knows where it could really go. Let me know if you think, after all, that we could have Sean Gunn wearing a wig with longer hair as Hawkgirl bursts him out the window. Maybe this is something that helps the Lord Tech heroes forsake the Lord Tech branding on their suits to eventually get their own comic book accurate suits. So staying on track with Superman here, we've had an ABC News interview saying, "Meet David Corenswet, cinema's new Superman." Now, I recommend checking this out for yourself, but a few interesting quotes came out of this that I've written down here. "He's a public-facing character. He's a symbol," Corenswet said. "There's a presentational element to it, because he does want to present an image of calm and authority. While he doesn't always feel that way, he always wants to make other people feel that way as Superman." To prepare for Clark Kent, Corenswet looked at the All-Star Superman comic and how Christopher Reeve changed his posture when Lois left the room. But he also drew inspiration for the voice and demeanor way outside of the canon. His brother-in-law, who is 6'8" and 270 pounds, but is the quietest, most wonderful man. "That's where I sort of took the spirit of Clark," Corenswet said. "He's this big presence, but he's desperately trying to be as small as possible and as quiet as possible." And I can't wait to see Corenswet's acting chops go into this, to see the Clark Kent reporter mode. Hopefully, again, with the official trailer, assuming here that it gives us quite a bit of dialogue, you know, like where they present the story, the narrative loosely in the trailer. They take different, you know, sound bites from different scenes in the movie, from different characters to kind of tell a bit of a story in the trailer. I hope that contains some of the Clark Kent moments, in whether that's in the Daily Planet or even talking to Pa Kent. But we also have Gunn here saying Gunn has promised that the film is a personal journey for Superman that's entirely new. He's a character who is pretty damn good, but flawed. And anyone who has seen the trailer knows there will be romance between Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane, but there's even a different spin on that. He's in love with her, Gunn said. She's the one that needs the convincing in the relationship. It's not him. You really see where he needs her in his life. And also, I wonder if we're going to get any of that teased in the trailer. We've learned quite a bit about Lois and Clark, I would say, in the past couple of months, and how he's madly in love with her. She's a bit more skeptical. Is this just a fun fling? We're continuing on the Superman news here. Trust me, we're going to get into some other news, but we have recently, very recently, Warner Brothers' Michael DeLuca saying that James Gunn understood the assignment with Superman. This came out through a new article, I believe, or story. It came from a podcast, Smartless, and we have the Wrap here covering it, DC Film News. But the main quote is that we've seen an early cut of Superman, and I don't want to bury the lead, but there's a lot of marketing about to roll out ahead of its release, but he really understood the assignment. His heart's in the right place, his aim is true, and we're really excited about their new version of DC. Now, of course, we've heard Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi say stuff like this before. Of course, they're going to say something like that. It's not like they would say something bad about Superman, so do take that into account. But at the same time, it's still encouraging to hear. And I hope that the marketing, as it unfolds, continues to show and present what we've been hearing about the movie. And then, in other news, leaky kind of news, so I do want to give people the chance to skip to the next timestamp. All you have to do is, if you're watching on your phone or your TV, it should be split up into little video bars on the loading bar, buffering bar, if you will, for timestamps. You may have heard about this already, like people like, hashtag super shit. What's going on with hashtag super shit? Boba, why aren't you talking about it? It's honestly because I wasn't really making news roundups last week. I was very busy, had other things to do. Got a Thunderbolts review out, by the way. Check out my Thunderbolts review if you haven't already. Would appreciate the support on the Marvel content. But yes, let's get into this in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, a lot of things have been coming out with regards to, and this is the kind of thing where I don't really want to know plot spoilers, like plot spoilers, and I couldn't avoid it. So I don't want to know massive plot spoilers, but this is the kind of one, the hashtag super shit thing that went everywhere. So the idea is that apparently Superman's going to be facing like this public pressure by not only that scene that you're seeing on screen right now, but that will translate to online kind of hate for the Man of Steel through that of the hashtag super shit. Now, I know I'm going to get called a shill for this because I would like to think I'm just going to it level-headed. I do want to make bloody clear to people that if I see the movie, I haven't seen it. So if I watch this and I find it a bit too cringe and goofy, I will say that. But what I'm not gonna do is see something written on a piece of paper and react saying, oh my god, this movie's, oh my god, James Gunn is absolutely, this is just terrible. Do you know why? Because you're seeing it written on a piece of paper or, on print online, on a Reddit leak post or a Facebook post in such a way that is out of context. And that is not cope. That's just a matter of fact. It just is. But what I'm not going to pretend to do is say that, oh yeah, this is great, this is insanely bad, because I don't know. So my example of that has been when talking about this on livestream recently. If I wrote a leak down, let's just say your favorite movie of the past few years is The Batman, and you see how serious that trailer was, the tone of Matt Reeves' The Batman movie from DC Fandom and other things like that. But you had a leaker on Reddit or Facebook write down saying, oh, guess what, guys? Matt Reeves, it should have been Ben Affleck, the Batman movie, because get this. There's a scene where they're investigating the first murder in the movie that the Riddler did. And they're trying to get this USB drive, right? A thumb drive to get some evidence. And literally, it has a severed thumb on the USB thumb drive. And Batman goes, thumb drive. And then pissing myself laughing, 10 laughing emoji faces after that leak. No matter what, when you read that out of bloody context, you know that people would have absolutely scrutinized that as well. But when you see that in the movie, it's almost too hard to imagine Pattinson's Batman from those trailers holding up the thumb drive with a literal thumb on it going, thumb drive. It's just, do you see where I'm going with this? And I can guarantee I could get your favorite comic book movie, post to Reddit or Facebook, a line or two that explains it in such a way where when you read that on a web page and whatnot, in the same way the Superman one has been described, it's like it's hard for your brain to not see it as kind of, well, that sounds odd on paper, like the Batman thing, or X example thing from your favorite comic book movie, to the point of where it could stir a bit of like, oh, I don't know if I like the sound of that. But you need to see it, right? You need to see it, see if that hits or not. But the whole lens that Superman has on it, it just invites scrutiny upon scrutiny and compounding on scrutiny and scrutiny. So yes, when you see something like hashtag super shit in the movie, it's like, oh my God, this is going to be the legacy of Gunn Superman. Do you see what I mean? It's just, at least watch it and then call it out, because that's what I will do. If it doesn't land for me, I will say that. But if anything, what I will say is that it makes bloody sense. I'll get onto the monkey thing in a second, but the super shit thing, of course. And you know, I've talked about this before, funnily enough, in the past couple of years. When Superman is being defamed, he has people smearing him. You see all of them right here in this scene, throwing a bloody can at his head. Good thing he's not Homelander, because we've all seen The Boys and what happened there. But of course, in today's day and age, in a comic book movie where you're trying to mirror present day, even though it's like a fictional, different alternate history version of our world, people would go on social media and they would talk about Corenswet's Superman. And you just know that one of the hashtags probably would be super shit instead of Superman, right? Because of whatever Luthor did. And we heard rumors way back when, I'm losing my voice here already, but that Eve Teschmacher was apparently meant to be like an influencer or something, and I theorized ages ago that Lex could weaponize her social media following to go and bring Superman down. Now, I don't know, by the way, I have no bloody idea if that's related to this hashtag in the movie. All I'm saying is Superman receiving public pressure when a part of this movie is about reconciling his Kryptonian upbringing with his human upbringing with his Kryptonian heritage. Will he ever be accepted by humanity? This, that, and the other. The things that we're used to talking about here on the channel when examining what this movie could be about. Seeing that footage of him being shamed by the public for whatever they believe he's done or hasn't done, or how he handled the kaiju threat. People might feel like he handled that kaiju threat in a shite way, so they're like hashtag super shite or something like that. I don't know. But no matter what, I don't think it's like blind fanboy defendery of me to say that hold your horses, wait to see the movie. If anything, I think some social media backlash to Superman with Luthor's plan makes sense. And I don't know, man. Like, I guess we'll call it when we see it. But then apparently the real twist is that Lex Luthor is behind it all, obviously. But using an army of mutant monkeys at keyboards to flood and trolls the internet to tear Superman down. That's something where even when I read that, you think, on paper, that does sound odd. And to the point of where it's like, yeah. You know, like, Luthor literally has somewhere, like secretly in a, I don't know, sub-level of Luthor Corp or something, an army of mutant monkeys at keyboards to flood and troll Superman on the internet, maybe like basically botting a hashtag to, you know, make Superman feel even more public pressure of how just the people of the world are really starting to hate him kind of thing, right? I can't deny that something like that sounds really goofy. In the same way, you know, with that thumb drive example, if you saw the trailers of the Batman, you would think, what the hell is Matt Reeves doing there? That just sounds so completely, you know, slapsticky kind of Adam West Batman to do something like that. What I would say, if that is indeed true, the mutant monkey thing in the movie, is why would what I potentially wouldn't like about that is why would Luthor get an army of mutant monkeys at keyboards to troll Superman and fuel the hashtag, you know, artificially, when you can literally just get algorithms and bots to do that? Do you see what I mean? I would just be like, why have you got like a mutant monkey army to do it? Like, that doesn't really. So that's the only iffy thing for me. But again, I'm going to reserve judgment till I see the movie. But that's the criticism I would have for that the execution of the hashtag. Because the main thing coming out of this leak that people are clowning on is the super shit thing. The super shit thing isn't really nearly as much of a big deal from what I'm observing with what we know about the movie. If anything, I think it actually makes sense within the confines of the plot with what Luthor is trying to do, with whatever he frames Superman to have done to make the public distrust him. But, you know, again, I'm going to have to wait. I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to have to wait to see the movie. And that's all I've really got to say about that. That isn't blind optimism. That's not blind faith. It's just not jumping the gun and jumping to conclusions. Because I think if you truly jump to conclusions and you have your mind already made up about something based off of a couple of lines on a Facebook post written in a certain way, then I feel like if you're clowning saying this movie is shite, Gunn's ruined it, like you've already jumped to those conclusions. It already transparently exposes your stance without even seeing the movie, right? It shows a confirmation bias right out the gate. Now, you could turn this around on me saying, Boba, well, you not doing that shows your... No, I disagree. I'm reserving judgment, and I will clown on it if and as of when I see it, if it doesn't work. But I'm not going to do that before the movies come out. I hope you get what I'm saying there, but fair enough if you don't like the sound of it or you're a bit iffy about it and you're like, I don't know about that, but I would recommend waiting until you see it, see if it works and if it doesn't work, and yeah. Let me know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. Now, up next, taking a break from the DCU momentarily to focus on the Batman 2. Now, don't get too excited here, but the Batman 2 has been listed today on Production Weekly. It's his first appearance, as the Batman Saga News on Twitter says here, since January 2nd. Now, before you say it, yes, I know, Production Weekly, iffy reliability. I spoke about this on my stream last night, saying that I would say Production Weekly is more like IMDb. It can be reliable, but you need to take it with a grain of salt because, for example, IMDb can have some things right. For example, my favorite one recently to use is the Mark Strong, Carmine Falcone thing in The Penguin. He was on IMDb for God knows how long, to the point of where people like myself were like, oh, I don't know, man. Really? Like, what? I don't know about this IMDb. For it to be true, so people do add their clients and stuff onto IMDb. So Production Weekly literally has had things right before. For example, apparently they knew about the title of Spider-Man Brand New Day months before it was actually revealed, and that was listed, but people obviously didn't really trust it at the time. They already knew that the film, they listed that it was delayed to October 2027 before that was officially announced. So Production Weekly does hear legitimate production details, one-liner type things that you can report, but are often tentative. But again, sometimes it's not always ironclad truth. So the thing about this, the Batman 2 being added to Production Weekly, it's interesting because this does sync up with exactly what I've been wondering about for a long time. If you remember, I've been saying that before all of the whole Matt Reeves personal thing came out, we should really be hearing about the Batman 2 entering pre-production May, June, absolute latest July, really. And obviously with this now being added, we're in May, it's kind of oh, this is perfect timing for when maybe behind the scenes the ball is truly rolling. As I was kind of talking about for the past year or so. Really, pre-production should take 6 months. Maybe they could get it down to 5 months. And then if they wanted to film towards the end of this year, which would roundabouts be November, you take 6 months off of November. That brings us to where we are now, May, June-ish, right? So I don't know if this is a good sign. I can't say if it is a good sign because of the reliability of Production Weekly. But I know if I didn't mention it, people would mention it to me. Don't get too excited. You really do have to take it with a grain of salt. But if we have our fingers crossed, technically, as I keep saying recently, we should hear news about the Batman 2 either way in the next couple of months, because they can't pretend to carry on with what, to be fair, Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson never said they were. They said, we're hoping to shoot at the end of the year, which would be around November-ish, just with other things that would have to line up to make that happen. So they never said it was definitely going to happen, but come July, we should have some kind of update if the Batman 2 is either filming, number 2, it's been pushed back to a production start to early 2026, or number 3, it's been cancelled. But I don't think that's going to happen because, again, to be fair, as James Gunn said, at this point, why play charades? They would just come out and say it's cancelled. Now, back into the DCU with Clayface here. We have Gunn saying, happy anniversary to the legendary shapeshifter, Clayface. And I know this is just okay, happy anniversary, but he goes on to say, a master of deception, this supervillain can become anything or anyone, even the star of his own film. coming 2026. Little, as I like to call it, the scooper eye emoji. So hint, hint, nudge, nudge there. Now, the reason why I find that interesting is, well, surprise, surprise, that the Clayface movie, you know, of course, it would probably be something to do with what Gunn hinted there. So he's basically saying that probably a part of the plot is Clayface being the star of his own film. Now, I think this is taking inspiration, obviously, from what Gunn posted to his social media alongside the announcement, Clayface One Bad Day. All the reports are saying that Clayface won't be the traditional, like, outright villain. And I get that, because it doesn't mean he doesn't go on to become the person he is in Creature Commandos. A bit of a scumbag version of Clayface, definitely. But, initially, things happen incidentally, and he just goes down the rabbit hole. And to kind of keep up appearances, he might just try and become someone. And I strongly suspect that, how do I say this, that he won't be really the star that everyone thinks he is. Like, he's going to pretend, he's going to morph into the identity of someone else, but at least that way he gets to pretend to be the star. But we also had Jeff Snyder, Apocalyptic Horseman from Nexus Point News said that Snyder is claiming that there's a page 1 rewrite happening on Clayface, but I can assure you that's wrong. It's not a full rewrite, and it's not a new written script. It's the director, James Watkins, doing a director's pass, which it's not uncommon at all. Nothing to see here. But Jeff Snyder quoted that saying, "Not what I hear. Heard it's being retooled top to bottom." Now, a director's pass with what Apocalyptic Horseman here is saying sounds more believable, because it's like they greenlight the script kind of thing, but a director's pass at something is usually when the director takes that. It's still the bones and body and spine of the story, but they somewhat morph and mold it into the way they're going to, like, shoot the movie, right? Now, Future Boba here. As I was uploading this video, as usual, we have an update to this story coming from the Wrap here, backing up basically what Jeff Snyder was saying DC Studios taps Drive writer Hossein Amini to rewrite Clayface exclusive. Now, that is basically all there is to the story right now, other than we have Apocalyptic Horseman saying that they're still going to stand by what they said, because, to be honest, they're still hearing what they said previously, but Humberto Gonzalez, who writes for the Wrap, is a much more reliable source, so we'll see. So I just wanted to update this story. Obviously, this is still in flux. For all we know, we might get James Gunn acknowledging this. He might debunk it. Obviously, this remains to be seen. But if this is actually true, and that the Clayface script is getting a bit of a rewrite, it is really interesting to consider why this could be happening. Now, I will give my full thoughts in another video. However, one of the reasons that maybe you would do a rewrite is, and this is what I've already seen people start to talk about, but it's like maybe one of the first things you would do. I don't think it would be because of what Mike Flanagan wrote per se, but it's like more a new idea that you want to implement into the script, and that idea could affect the story from beginning, middle, and end. Not necessarily dramatically, but you might just need to rewrite it a bit to structure that and make it work. Now, what could that be? Well, I'm going to go there, people. Maybe DCU Batman. Now, I know I said it. It's just an idea. If maybe for some reason or another they want to implement DCU Batman into the DCU sooner rather than later, maybe, who knows, this could have something to do with the whole Batman 2 thing, perhaps taking a little bit longer than what they were going or aiming for this year. So, okay, maybe we'll bring in DCU Batman sooner. I know I'm really reaching right now. I just wanted to put this idea out there because I know people will be wondering about it. And, you know, let me know why you think Clayface could be getting a rewrite. I do want to stress, for all I know, by the time you're watching this, Gunn could have debunked it, and I'll follow this up in a future video. But if it does turn out to be true that it's getting a little bit of a rewrite, do you think that's because they could be implementing DCU Batman, but nothing too crazy because it's still a Clayface movie? So I've always said, if we do get DCU Batman in an appearance in Clayface, it could still be super, super small. Just, you know, really serving as an appetizer for the Brave and the Bold movie. But until there is even more news on this, that is it for now. And back to Past Boba. And another little bonus thing on Clayface from Humberto Gonzalez. He said this in addition to the Sergeant Rock news a little while ago, that Clayface begins production on October 1st. Now, I think it was it meant to be around the summer? So I thought casting could happen pretty soon. But if it's not starting production until October 1st, we've still got a little while before we find out who Clayface is going to be. And if you have any fan castings for who should play Clayface, let me know. So now moving into the Lantern side of things briefly, we have Jason Ritter telling Forbes here that we've shot 4 episodes so far, and we're about to start shooting episodes 3 and 4. We're doing it all a little out of order, and it's been so fun, and it's a really well-written, really fun show. So this is the son of William Mason, Billy Mason, and I can't wait to see what role he's playing. It's cool to know that they've shot 4 episodes now. Obviously, they're shooting out of order, but 4 have been done. And don't forget that Lanterns will be made up of 8 episodes. Now, I have heard a couple of details about Lanterns. Nothing crazy, by the way, so take this with a grain of salt. It's just cool little details to see if this turns out to be true. It'll be like, okay, maybe you heard it here first. It's again, nothing crazy. It's just apparently the town that John Stewart and Hal Jordan are investigating is known as Rushville. I've looked up Rushville, couldn't really find anything on it, but it could be, Rushville in Sheridan County. So just remember that, because maybe I might learn a few more things that could be more substantial. Not that I want to learn major plot leaks or anything like that. Not that I would really spread that. But yeah, it's just cool to know that maybe that could be the town. It is apparently in Nebraska as well. So Sheridan County, Rushville, Nebraska. I have heard that there's culty things going on in this town, and that's basically what we've all been speculating about, but we just don't know surrounding what. A long time ago, we were speculating as the culty activity surrounding the center. Recently, we've been looking more into the Black Hand side of things for a very, very, very long-term setup for a Blackest Night thing. Time will tell. Now, another little story that I wanted to add on to the end of this video is a lot of people have been tagging me in how Will Poulter might be in talks to play Adam Strange in the DCU. And what's adding more fuel to the fire of speculation here is we have Mitch Gerard adding the little eye emoji on the story, and he's a comic book artist for Tom King's Strange Adventures, which is a comic book that James Gunn really, really likes. So people are, oh my god, does he know something? But the more you dig into this, guys, it comes from a place called popfilms.medium.com. I don't think I've ever heard of them before. Again, it'd be pretty cool if they had an exclusive like this. I'm not gonna lie, but the reliability is very much so, it's not like a major trade saying this. It's not Nexus Point News. It's not even The Wrap or something like that. So, I wouldn't necessarily believe it. But what I will say, and I've said this before, it wouldn't remotely surprise me if Gunn brought Strange Adventures to the DCU. Now, if it was Tom King's Strange Adventures, that would be pretty interesting. He really loves that story, but it'd be a bit divisive, I think, amongst fans, because that story really kind of shows Adam Strange in a different light, so to speak. It's like a very mature, complex, layered story that is an Elseworld story. So to bring that into mainline canon, DCU canon, if you will, for Adam Strange, it's like, I could believe it, but for those of you who know, but if you haven't read the story, I do recommend it. But we're going to have to wait and see. But I wouldn't read into this one for now. It's the kind of story that fan pages or fan news pages, the type who will just repost anything with kind of no validity necessarily behind it, are just circulating around, and then, I get tagged in it, and they're like, Boba, what do you think of this? Why haven't you spoken about this? Those are my thoughts on that. I for now, X'd out. But there, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to call this video. I did have a couple of other stories I wanted to get into, but, this news roundup's going on long enough as it is. So I'll save those until next time. But let me know your thoughts on everything that we discussed in today's video. If you're still watching right now, consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. I mean, you may as well. You're still watching this far into this very long video. So, it'll be good to have you on board. I'd really appreciate a like as well. That just helps boost the video out there a bit more, consider sharing it. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in. We might be getting a Superman trailer in the next week. Any brand new news, this is the place to be. Until next time, I just hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see all of you guys of the DCU in the next video. Goodbye.